Hey everybody, welcome to the Shrimp City Report, Charleston's premier leisure and entertainment podcast. Today I am joined with my co-host, DJ.
Hey, how's it going?
And we have Tanner Clay here today with the Charleston Battery. So it's a sports podcast, y'all.
Super excited.
Yeah. How are you doing, Tanner?
I'm doing fantastic. I appreciate the time. Looking forward to speaking.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a pleasure to let us. We came out to Patriots Point today and checking out the digs for the Battery, and we're recording on location. So there may be some, bit of background noise.
Yeah.
Car horns, airplanes, whatever. Errant golf balls coming over here. So Tanner, how long have you been with the Battery?
Yeah, no, great question. So I started with the club in 2021. I joined I was an account executive and kind of moved my way up through the club's ranks in the front office, selling tickets, putting butts in seats, and fast forward 3 years, I'm now the director of revenue.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
So you hit the ground running. You started at the low rung. That's impressive that you had that desire. Was that something that you set your sights on to want to grow into the organization?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess some background on myself. I played soccer since I was 3-4 years old, originally from Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay.
And came to the College of Charleston on a soccer scholarship. So that's really what brought me here.
Okay.
Passion for the game is, what eventually got me to the Charleston Battery. I was like many kids who wanted to play professional soccer, and 1% that actually get there. But there's a lot of opportunities to be involved. Whether you're coaching or working in a front office, and I do both of that now. So really, really excited to be still with the club after 4 years, and I'm excited to continue to talk with you guys because we've been building a lot here.
I was about to say it's been a crazy time. How much growth have you seen in these past 4 years at the Battery?
I mean, immense amount of growth. I mean, when Rob Salvatore and the ownership group bought the team in 2019, they bought a team not knowing that COVID was going to come 6 months later.
Right, yeah.
But it was we call it a little bit of a blessing in disguise because it gave us another 12 months to build up the stadium how we wanted to. 2020 season was behind closed doors. The team was really good, but people couldn't watch us besides on ESPN Plus.
Right.
But fast forward to 21, which is my first season. The growth that your question was, it's tenfold. We're, each season we're growing 10-20% in revenue and in attendance. So that's exactly what we're looking for, and that's why we're bringing in a lot of good people into the front office so we can continue to grow with American soccer's growth. Okay.
So does attendance, is there a natural equation to the better the attendance, the better the revenue, or how much does merchandise drive keeping a club alive?
Yeah, I think it kind of depends on the club and the location. We work with a lot of third-party vendors, right? Our kit is through Hummel, and we use Lloyd's Soccer Shop here locally. But there are other clubs who might do a lot of that stuff in-house,
right?
Being able to get bigger margins and whatnot. So merchandise is a decent chunk of revenue, but ticket sales and sponsorships is definitely 1-2.
Yeah, we definitely want to circle around to sponsorships or local partnerships and things like that. One thing that fascinated me reading about this, and I'm from Charleston, back and forth, wherever I had traveled or lived in my life, but I didn't realize that the 1993 on the logo means that's when the Battery started.
Yeah.
And it's the longest continuous professional soccer club in the United States. That is mind-boggling.
The soccer league is literally as old as I am.
Yeah. So the team is that old. It's out. The longevity is just stunning.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a huge part of U.S. soccer history and in Charleston's history, and we're really trying to continue to tell those stories. We do have season members who date back to 1993. They've been with us through 4 or 5 different stadium moves, right? So, Charleston is very much a melting pot type of city, right? There'll be a lot of
It
people that
is.
will move from the Northeast, the West Coast, and a lot of times they're moving from places that do have, established clubs. So being able to bring them here and assimilate them into our family is what's helping with our growth as well.
So you're in the USL, the Champions League?
Championship.
Yeah,
USL
championship. Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot of teams in that league. I mean, all the way to the West Coast. That must translate to so much exposure for Charleston and for the club.
Yeah, correct. I mean, it's over 20 teams. I want to say it's 24 teams between the East and Western Conference. And what's awesome is, these aren't mom and pop owners. These are legit owners who are running these as businesses and looking for investments. And some of the clubs are, on the backs of other professional teams in their leagues. San Antonio FC is, with the Spurs, and Tampa Bay Rowdies is connected to the Tampa Bay Rays.
I didn't realize
So
that.
there's a lot of really smart people that are getting into USL and have already been in USL. The USL, and a lot of people know, is the biggest league in North America. Whenever you take into account all the different leagues with underneath its umbrella.
It's interesting the rivalries that crop up too. Like I know that y'all have a big rivalry with was it DC United, right? And just like y'all have those mini cups that the supporters create, and it's the coffee pot cup, which I just think that's amazing, and how dedicated supporters are to the team, that they're able to go head to head with all these other soccer clubs. Yeah.
100%. I mean, supporters culture is, I think, what makes soccer so unique.
Yeah.
People are born into these clubs a lot of the times, especially if you're looking over into Europe, and it's starting to be more common here. But yeah, we've got rivalries with the Tampa Bay Rowdies, DC United of the MLS. We took them to the U.S. Open Cup final in 2008 and narrowly lost. And that's still something that we hope to strive to get back to. But there's a lot of local rivalries, and I think that's what attracts people to the sport.
And we've talked about evolution and the Battery. Have you seen a lot of new faces, more supporters coming out? It's no surprise that soccer has been doing really well in the United States lately, with all the feels like marketing, the Premier League coming over, TV shows like Ted Lasso, Wrexham. Are you starting to see more new faces and more people interested in supporting the team?
Absolutely, and I think it all comes down to all those things that you're speaking about definitely help, but it does come down to what the individual clubs are doing in their communities and how they're creating stadiums that the people want to come to, right? It's more than even just what's happening on the field. We have a beautiful kind of pavilion area here where it lights up on game day. We bring in food trucks. We have a live DJ in this space that we're sitting in right now. And we have the on-field experiences. We have things for kids to do. It's families, it's young adults, it's couples. Soccer's really for all.
Yeah, absolutely. That game day experience. I mean, we see it in other sports, minor league baseball. Even a lot of the major leagues have really started trying to do that. I think it can be difficult when you've got 60 to 100,000 people around. The stadium here sits, about 4,000 or so?
5,000 now.
Okay.
Wow.
So with that expansion, I mean, that's a manageable, it's still intimate, but it can get super loud.
Yeah, absolutely. Our nosebleeds are other stadiums' premier seat.
Right. So I mean, that's great, because I mean, you're not out kicking your coverage with who's coming. I'm sure you have long-term plans for growth, and that's just the nature of all business. So the locals, when you do engage with them or you market, I was wondering, Charleston is a heavy tourist city. I mean, just one of the destinations in the United States. Do you try to market for tourists, or is it maybe it's just a byproduct that they would come by? I was wondering if that's, does that move the needle with attendance?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I mean, we definitely focused on locals a lot more than tourists. Just being that we only play 17 home games and they're about 2 a month. So being able to kind of get that right is tough. We do have partnerships with the Charleston Airport and Breeze Airways and things of that nature to be able to kind of reach those folks where they are. But it's a lot of word of mouth, right? People having a good experience and then telling their friends, and more and more that happens, and good things happen as well.
Yeah, soccer supporters are some of the greatest supporters in the world, and like you said, that there's families getting grown into it. Also, the Southeast, I guess, besides folks that are just interested in soccer, there's a couple of generations, or maybe 3 generations of kids now that were heavily into recreation soccer.
Grew up Pee Wee soccer,
Yeah, which was not a huge thing growing up here in the 70s and 80s. Yeah. So now those kids are grown up and they're starting to come out because they've had soccer all their life, and a lot of folks my age that grew up here was just basketball, football, and baseball. That was it. So this is good to see. So since the USL is nationwide, do you see other folks coming to support other teams here? Do you get a lot of different jerseys from your competitors or other folks in the league?
I'd say more and more every year. Our front office, all the front offices within the USL have great relationships, and the more we can get our supporters completely bought in and willing to travel, I mean, that's how you've really built something special. So I would say there are certain clubs within the league that have supporters that travel more. It's definitely nice having like a Tampa Bay Rowdies in North Carolina. Like tomorrow night we'll probably have a couple hundred from North Carolina just because it is within driving distance. But again, a lot of the clubs have partnerships with like airlines and things where they can offer discounts or discounted tickets as well. Like we do ticket trades with other clubs as well to help supporters get to help their teams where they travel.
Yeah, that's an advantage to be regionally located with a lot of those teams that you can travel.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, you do have multiple titles, cups, that folks can read about that history on your website or the Wikipedia. What is the USL's Championship League Cup or title called? Or is it just the title?
It's the championship title. I mean, it's whatever sponsor puts their name on it. I think I'm sure they're working on that now.
No, it's okay. And you have y'all are currently in second place in the Eastern.
Second place in the East right now.
Wow.
Yeah, hell of a start to the season. We were on ESPN top 10. We're number 1, number 5 with a few of our goals, and hoping to get back to winning ways and scoring more goals over the next week, 2-3 weeks.
Okay. You said you had 4 locations. So you started in '93. Stony Field, I think, was the first place that they played, and that's where, next to the River Dog Stadium, where I used to play like city football. And so I thought that was kind of interesting. Yeah. Who was the gentleman with black bod that's kind of started the...
Yeah.
Tony Barker.
Okay.
Yep. The Englishman.
Right. And he started it, and I guess that was a passion project for him, or
he brought just him and some buddies lived in Charleston, and we're like, this is the place where we need to help grow the game. How do we get a lot of our friends employed probably as well, and competing?
That's right.
And went out to a beautiful place that's now Daniel Island.
Yes.
And, built a state-of-the-art stadium at its time, and we've had a lot of success. Brought a lot of big-time names and teams over there. The U.S. Even the women's national team had games there.
Yep.
Like you said, people can look online to see all the history of Blackbaud Stadium. But we still hear the stories about it.
Going over there, I guess they did that in the 90s, so that was early adoption of Daniel Island.
Yeah.
And Blackbaud itself was there.
Yeah.
So, does the USL have affiliations between the Championship League and the Pro, or whatever's the higher league above that, or does MLS ever have any kind of associations or their trades? How does that go?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I mean, if you look back over the last probably 5 to 10 years of the USL and the MLS's relationship, there have been iterations of partnerships, collaborations where they would be teams that were connected. I'd say over the last 2 to 3 years, most teams have completely separated as far as like direct connections.
Yeah.
But there's still owners that will work with other MLS teams to, trade players, sell players, loan players. That's probably the biggest thing is loanees, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if we're talking on MLS, they have a second division called MLS Next Pro, and it's mostly young kids, 14, 15, 16-year-olds, where the MLS is a grown man league, right? So guys that aren't on the top 18, the 19, 20, 21, 23 players on that league, they don't want to send them down to MLS Next Pro to play with kids. They'd rather send them to our league where they're playing against grown men again and getting more competition to get them ready to actually go play in MLS and get some MLS minutes. But like for us, we sold a number of players last year to MLS sides, and that's also a big thing that's interesting in the sport of soccer is all the players are owned by the teams, right? So they own their rights. They can sell them on and take those profits and reinvest them into the clubs, right? Into the stadium, into the next best young player, into fan experience.
So that's pretty much the model with all professional soccer, right? Even I know the Premier League is the same way, and so okay. Well, that I understand that. That also must make it a little easier to actually do the finances. You know how much you have in somebody. You know what their value is.
Yeah, I mean it's perceived value to a degree, but it's value of what someone's willing to pay, right?
True.
So, and what's nice is it's a global market. It's not just the United States where other sports might. NFL is not selling someone to Europe, right?
Right.
Or basketball isn't the same way either. So, the USL's profile has grown so much that we are starting to see teams transfer players and even coaches overseas.
Wow, cool.
Okay. Do you sell players or loan them in the middle of the season? Or is this an off-season thing?
No, definitely. Middle of season, certain windows, like I would say summertime right now is a mid-season is a time where players are starting to get loaned out or even purchased. Like we just secured the rights to Prince Sadie from Rhode Island. Just announced him today.
Yep.
So he's a very attacking style player, probably the fastest player in the league. He might make his debut tomorrow night.
No, that's good. And you know what? You bring up a good point. It is international, and it's hard as Americans not to think beyond our own borders with anything like that. Who was it that went to Miami recently? Messi.
Yeah.
Some
guy named Messi.
Yeah, some guy. I know. I guess he's got a little stake in everything down there. So, but yeah, that happens, and it's not going to. You're not going to see that in probably any other type of sport. But I mean, soccer is universal. How did you get into it anyway? You're a little tall for a soccer player.
No, it's a good question. I have an older brother, and I just wanted to be like him, right? So this is the sport that he played when he was young, and I remember the story of my mom taking me. I was probably 3 years old, and they didn't let kids play till they were 5, but I was tall, right? So they let me do the tryout, but then they looked at my birth certificate and was like, send him home, right?
Yeah.
So I just waited my 2 years, and but back to your question, I just I had an older brother, and wanted to be just like him, and then found my passion through it, and had success along the way.
Are you glad you were able to work in sports?
Follow that passion.
Yeah, but even with all your business and everything else that you're...
Definitely. I mean, a lot of people, it's that cliche, you never work a day in your life if you love what you do.
Sure.
And I really, truly love what I do. Yeah, I have challenging days like most people do, but at the end of the day, it's for the passion of soccer, for the fans, coming and seeing what game day looks like, all your hard work. Full stadiums, winning teams, championships. Like there's no other thing that can bring that joy for me, at least, besides my family.
So your family's all here, all settled in here?
Yes, definitely. My wife, I met her when I went to College of Charleston.
Okay.
She studied abroad for a year, so she's actually from Madrid, Spain.
Okay. Yeah.
So I knew I had to find a woman that loved the sport almost as much as me.
Yeah.
Because I knew that every Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday afternoon, I was going to have soccer on the television, and and that's okay with her, right? So, but yeah, I have a son and a young daughter who was born about a month ago.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, wow.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, yeah.
Yeah, both of us got interested in soccer, Premier League a few years ago, just because, well, personally, you know, I was hearing more and more people were going around Park Circle to watch it.
Yeah, plenty of dedicated club bars popping up for Arsenal, West Ham, all of them. So.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
see
just-
the West Ham.
Yeah, I'm definitely a
Kid on.
hardcore West Ham supporter. But
There's
I
a
just-
there's a big supporter, a decent sized West Ham supporter group here locally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The Holy City Hammers.
Exactly.
We watch all the games at Paradiso and Park Circle
Nice.
in Mixon. So
I will say I'm an Arsenal fan.
that's
I
fine.
am too. It's all good.
They're my
all
second-
friends.
They're
Yeah.
my second favorite. I catch
Yeah.
crap about that. But we've seen a lot of folks just pick up being fans.
Yeah.
Really had no kind of investment in watching soccer, especially getting up at 9 a.m. on a Saturday.
Or
Yeah.
even earlier, 7:30 maybe.
Wild.
If you're on the
it's
West
just
Coast.
absolutely mind-boggling. And to that point, the first time I'd seen anybody do a liquor shot at like 9:30 a.m.
Jameson, yeah.
Oh, and I'm not busting on that at all, but you know, that's a whole new culture for us. So speaking of the culture here, you have at least one supporter group, the regiment, is that
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, we have a couple. We have the regiment, and then we
Uh-huh.
have La Barra Charleston as well.
That's the
Right.
that's the Spanish speaking.
Yep, this Hispanic
Okay.
group that was recently started, but has
Okay.
been fantastic for us.
Where do they usually post up in the Enza or the behind the goals?
Yeah, the north and south side of the stadium behind the goals, like you said.
Okay.
Just kind of depending on where they want to be.
Yeah, we're definitely going to check that out. So, and then ESPN Plus and CBS Golazo.
Yeah, Golazo.
So Golazo. We can watch that. So where are good watch parties for the Battery if someone can't get out to the stadium?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. Edmonds O's Brewing is probably our main watch venue, where all the regiment and supporters and really anyone that watches soccer has been going there.
Okay.
They're hosting our games, whether it be home or away, East Coast, West Coast. Like just last week, they hosted a 10 o'clock p.m. watch party for us, and when we played in Monterey, and we had 100 people there. So people are dedicated, they're invested.
Man, that is fantastic.
And I mean, hopefully we can continue to put out a product on the field and outside the field that they'll be proud of.
Edmonds Oast is a great place here in Charleston as well.
Yeah, I actually saw a couple of games for the World Cup there. And again, like you were saying, filled to the brim. It's amazing how much, how much soccer is picking up in the U.S., you know?
It is.
Yeah.
And in a place that has fantastic beer.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, tell us about the team makeup. Mostly American players?
It's probably 60% American
Okay.
players,
Okay.
or Americanized players, right? Players that might come from other countries to play college soccer, and now they're more or less American,
Okay.
where they've maybe have a spouse now, they've gotten a green card or a passport. But yeah, we have players from over 10 different countries.
Okay.
Wow.
Some dual nationals as well.
The coach is American.
Yes, Ben
Okay.
Pierman,
Okay,
fantastic.
Yeah. And he came from Memphis, I think?
He did, yeah. He's
Okay.
originally from Michigan.
Okay.
Played and then coached at Michigan State, and then took over Detroit City when they were in their infancy, and then went to Memphis in the USL Championship and was Coach of the Year within his first 2 years, and then we have a fantastic club president. His name is Lee Cohen.
Okay.
Probably top 2 presidents in the league. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased, but ask around the league, I'm sure they'd say the same thing.
Yeah.
Recruited Ben over. Ben was second in the Coach of the Year last year. Maybe should have won it. Maybe if we would have won the championship, he probably would have won it. But he's top 5 coaches in, I think, U.S. soccer right now. He's just got his U.S. soccer A license, A pro license, which I think they only give out maybe 20 of those a year.
So he has been successful. So do you ever get worried somebody's going to come snooping around the office and, snatch him up?
Do you have to take him on a tour every now and then just to remind him how beautiful Charleston is?
No, I think he does that himself. I know he
Yeah.
walks around. He's got a dog. He's got a wonderful wife. So
Yeah.
making sure that they're comfortable and happy. And I mean, y'all live in Charleston, right?
Yeah.
It's a tough place to leave.
It is. I'm super biased, but doggone, it is. It's fantastic.
Yeah, but we're also realistic. I mean,
Yeah.
not everyone's going to stay forever, but as long as we can, I think that's what's nice about being, in the USL as well. We can push people onto bigger and better things and be able to have another story to tell, and it's the next man up mentality always.
It is. That's a good idea. I mean, that being altruistic is fine, but we want to develop and we want to be successful. Everybody wants to be successful in whatever they're doing, and of course, sports teams. That's pretty much what the foundation of everything is for, to get those wins and cups and championships. So we do want to see everyone do well, because it is for the spirit of the conference or the league. Everyone doing well means that a high tide floats all boats, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about NCAA soccer, or whatever level of collegiate soccer has started growing. Do you see a lot of players coming out and going pro from the collegiate ranks, or is it,
Again, it's a small percentage.
Yeah.
I mean, the top 25 players in the country might get an offer to come try out for an MLS team.
Yeah.
With no guarantee that they're actually going to make a roster, right? They might end up on the MLS Next Pro team. But that's where I think having other leagues outside of MLS, like the USL and USL Championship, USL League One, USL League Two, to provide those players with more opportunity to grow and play at a high level. Because again, there's only all college soccer is tough, but
Right.
there's only the top 25 teams that are really playing at that level that could potentially push them on to professional environment, right?
Okay. Understood.
It's a whole nother level as you move up.
It is so fascinating, and if there's so many great international players coming over. I mean, basketball's seeing the European influence in pro basketball now is crazy with the draft and everything that just happened.
Yeah, there's a lot of internationals going into the college game as well.
Yeah.
I mean, probably at College of Charleston, when I was there, we had probably half the team was from international. It's good to learn, because these guys are coming from other countries and they maybe might have more experience, right? And they may be in total football academies and they've been playing at a high level since they were 5,
Right.
and not playing multiple different sports like a lot of American athletes do. They specialize a little bit earlier. Again, Americans still compete at a very high level, and it's good to assimilate and get everyone kind of together to for one purpose, which is to win games and win championships, and hopefully go pro in sports or in life.
Yeah,
maybe
sure,
be a
absolutely.
doctor. Or,
Yeah, I guess that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so tomorrow we have North Carolina FC coming into town.
We do. North Carolina FC, it's a top team in the USL Championship. Back in the USL Championship, actually. They won the USL League One title last season, and are back in the championship division. Actually had them for their home opener this season, tied them, I believe it was 1-1. But it's going to be a heavily contested match. Two top teams with heavy rosters, not trying to give up much to either of them, each other. High attacking talent on both teams, stingy in the defense. So hopefully there's a goal that's early on in the game can kind of open up the game. If it's not, it's going to be very much a dogfight.
For the fan experience, what time do your gates open? When is kick? When should people arrive?
Yeah, so match tomorrow night, and most of the matches for the rest of the season start at 7:30. We do have a few kind of earlier kicks in October, September. But 7:30's kick. Gates always open 90 minutes ahead of kickoff, so 6 o'clock will be gates will open. That's when the DJ will get going. That's when the food trucks are slinging burgers, tacos, and all that good stuff. But I would say most fans come when the parking lot's open, which is another hour before that.
Wow.
So
Okay.
tailgating is huge.
Okay, I was wondering about that.
Yeah, kegs and barbecues, grills, and
Okay.
all the things for sure. Our fans are very passionate. They make a day of it.
So we're in mid-season right now. How many more games? Probably about a dozen.
11 more home games.
Okay.
I know that for a fact, and I would say maybe a few less away games.
Okay.
And you said you're number 2 in the standings right now.
Number 2 in the East right now. So
Plenty of time.
top 8 make the playoffs, and top 4 will host the first round.
Oh, fantastic. And ESPN Plus, I guess we just need to look at listings on the website to get an idea where that's going to, when they're going to be on.
Yeah, so just about every game is on ESPN Plus or CBS Golazo. So the league, which is great, the league is working with us and other television outlets to continue to elevate the profile, right? So there'll be a number of games that will be on CBS Sports Network, CBS,
Okay.
ESPN2. For example, our July 5th game is on ESPN2. The national final is always on ESPN or ESPN2 as well, but there's always a CBS Sports Network, or ESPN game of the week that will be highlighted within the 24 teams.
Okay,
So-
that's
Okay,
great.
cool.
Man, Friday night games, that's fantastic
Yeah.
too. 'Cause, I mean, it really is better for a lot of us that have to work, and it's tough to go and see Wednesday or Tuesday games or something. It's
Yeah.
great as Friday at 7:30. You can get in and you can get out.
Yeah, 90-minute games,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's you know when it's going to start. You pretty much know when it's going to
Yep.
end. 10-minute halftime. It's not a 4 or 5 hour. You know, as much as I love baseball, it's not monotonous, right?
Or again, Premier League having to get up at like 7 a.m.
Yeah,
You know.
but you're right. That was one of the selling things, was over in 90 minutes.
Yeah.
You know,
Most
instead of-
people don't have attention spans for more than that, anyways.
Yeah. Plus, you don't want some soccer supporters partying for more than 90 minutes.
Yeah,
even
it could
in-
get dangerous.
Okay, cool. So we've got that. We're going to make a plan to get out here and watch some of that. You got anything to add, Dev? Or Devin?
Yeah, I'm actually going to throw you kind of a hardball real
Let's go.
quick. For all the, non-soccer aficionados, can you explain the offsides rule for us?
The offsides rule.
Yes.
For sure. So you can't be past the second to last man, right? Because
Yeah.
the goalkeeper is there.
Yeah.
Right.
Before the ball is kicked.
Okay,
Yes.
that's what I can't ever get my eyes
Yeah, that's what I always
adjusted
yeah.
to.
Or as the ball is kicked.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry to put you on blast like that.
No,
I
it's
know
good.
It's a hotly debated.
I don't know. Maybe in 3 years I'll really be able to identify.
Yeah, I would say the easiest way to learn it is probably watching a game on TV first, because they'll slow it down, show you the replays.
Yeah.
If you're coming out to a professional game and there's not much replay going on, and you're just like, oh well, the other team now has it. It
Yeah.
could definitely be confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am a fan. I'm a fan of VAR, even though it doesn't happen when you want it or it doesn't go the way you want it. But at least, for newbies like me, then, I can discern it better doing that.
Yeah.
Anyway, we really appreciate having you on, Tanner. I hope we can chat again. Maybe
Yeah.
with big game coming up, or
Yeah, maybe
when
pre national final. Right?
Absolutely,
Yeah, that'd
that's
be
what we'll do.
fantastic.
So we'll keep in touch. Once again, thanks for having us. This was the Shrimp City Report, and we will talk to y'all out in the Low Country later. Thanks.
Adios.